The Galactic Museum floated in the dark space above a silent planet. It was huge, ancient, and quiet like a graveyard of forgotten stars. Inside its halls were relics from hundreds of dead civilizations, broken machines, lost books, shattered statues, and strange symbols from worlds that no longer existed. For most species in the galaxy, the museum was just a place of curiosity, but for a few it was a reminder that everything, no matter how powerful, one day turns into dust. Deep inside the museum was a sealed section known as Vault 47O. Behind thick glass and energy locks rested 10,000 small black artifacts, shaped like tablets, each carved with glowing silver marks. No one could read them. No AI, no alien historian, no galactic translator. The tablets refused to reveal their meaning, no matter what technology was used. For centuries, scholars had tried and failed. They called them the Silent Stones. But everything changed the day the humans came. Captain Aaron Holt stood in front of the sealed chamber, his reflection shining on the glass. His uniform was plain, marked only by the symbol of the United Human Expedition Corps. Behind him stood two more humans, Dr. Mira Solis, a linguist and code expert, and Ethan Ward, a silent security officer with calm, observant eyes. Across from them was Curator Selin Var, a tall, insectoid alien with 4 arms and shimmering green eyes. His species, the Varan, had run the museum for more than 1,000 years. These tablets, Selin began, his voice echoing in the metallic hall, were found on a derelict world near the Perseus Rift. No one knows who made them or why. But your species' name was found in the data logs of the same system. That is why you were invited. Captain Holt nodded slowly. You think humans made these? Selin's wings twitched. We are not sure. Your kind vanished from the galactic map 5 centuries ago. Few believed you still existed. Dr. Mira stepped closer to the glass. The tablets looked old, black as night, smooth as stone, but alive with faint silver light. They're not language, she whispered. They're patterns. Selin gave a small laugh. Many have said that. Patterns, art, decoration, but meaning? None. The AI failed. The psionics failed. Every attempt failed. Aaron stared quietly at the tablets. His reflection in the glass seemed smaller compared to the mountain of forgotten knowledge behind it. Then he said something soft, almost to himself. They don't want machines to read them. They want people to feel them. Selin blinked, confused. Feel them? Aaron placed his hand on the glass wall. At that moment, every light in the room flickered. A low hum spread through the air like a vibration from the bones of the universe. The silver lines on the tablet started to glow brighter. Then slowly, the patterns began to move. Dr. Mira gasped. Captain, they're reacting to you. Selin stepped back, his voice shaking. What is this? A human trick? But Aaron's expression had changed. His eyes were fixed on the shifting lines that began to form shapes, symbols, and then faint images. A planet, oceans, fire and shadows swallowing the stars. He spoke quietly as if remembering something old. They're not decorations, he said. They're messages, Selin tilted his head. Messages? From who? Aaron's voice was calm but heavy. From us. From humanity. A thick silence fell in the room. Only the soft hum of the tablets filled the air. Selin's wings shivered. You mean your ancestors left these behind? Aaron nodded slowly. No, we left them. For ourselves, Dr. Mira frowned, confused. But why? Why would humans leave messages they couldn't read later? Aaron turned toward her. Because they weren't meant to be read, until it was time. The nearest tablet glowed brighter. A small holographic image rose from its surface, blurry at first, then clear. It showed a human world, cities burning, skies turning red, and a storm of machines tearing across the land. Screams echoed faintly as if from another time. Dr. Mira covered her mouth. Oh God. Selin stared in disbelief. Is that Earth? Aaron's face hardened. No, it's what came after Earth. The hologram shifted again, this time showing thousands of ships leaving the planet, spreading into the void. The last image was of a symbol, the same one on Aaron's uniform. Mira whispered, It's the core emblem. Selin turned toward the human captain. What does this mean? What are these tablets warning about? Aaron's hand dropped to his side. His voice dropped lower. They're not warnings to us. They're warnings from us. The alien's eyes widened. That makes no sense. Before he could finish, the lights went out. The museum's systems glitched, and the emergency sirens began to echo faintly in the distance. The glass shimmered with strange energy, and the rest of the tablets started to glow one after another. 10,000 points of silver light pulsing like a heartbeat. Dr. Mira backed away. "Captain, they're activating." Aaron looked at the glowing walls, his voice firm but quiet. "No, they're remembering." The ground trembled slightly. Faint words, distorted, ghostly, echoed through the air. They were in an old human tongue, but the translator drones picked them up slowly. "If you are hearing this, it means the cycle begins again." Ceylon's mandibles clicked nervously. "Cycle? What cycle?" Aaron didn't answer. He stared into the shifting holograms. Images of stars exploding, ships vanishing, planets breaking apart. His face turned pale. He whispered more to himself than to anyone else. "They're not history records. They're forecasts." Dr. Mira turned to him. "Forecasts of what?" Aaron's eyes met hers. "Of extinction." The hum stopped. Every tablet went dark at once, leaving the hall in silence. The alien curator was shaking. "Captain Holt, what did you do?" Aaron slowly stepped back from the glass. "We didn't do anything. The tablets were waiting for someone human, someone who could understand." Ceylon looked horrified. "Understand what?" Aaron turned toward him, his voice heavy with dread. "That the end we feared wasn't a myth. It's a message from our own future." A cold silence filled the room again. The humans and aliens stood frozen, surrounded by 10,000 silent artifacts, each one hiding the voice of a doomed world. Aaron whispered the last words under his breath. "They tried to warn us, and now we're too late to stop it." The lights flickered once more, and the holographic image of a burning galaxy flashed on the wall, then faded into darkness. The lights of the Galactic Museum flickered for several minutes before finally stabilizing. The silence that followed was heavy, like the calm after a storm. Curator Ceylon's wings twitched nervously as he stared at the now dark tablets. "What was that?" he asked in disbelief. "The museum's systems have never failed before." Captain Aaron Holt didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the glass chamber. The 10,000 artifacts were silent again, but something felt alive inside them, a presence faint but growing. Dr. Mira Solis slowly walked closer, whispering, "They reacted to you, Captain, like they recognized your DNA or your memory." Ethan Ward, the quiet security officer, scanned the room with his wrist device. "Energy readings are unstable," he said. "Whatever those things did, they changed the museum's power flow." Ceylon turned toward Aaron. "You said these were warnings from your kind. What did you mean by that?" Aaron's face was calm, but his voice was low. "I don't know yet. But I think these tablets, they aren't from our past. They're from our future." Ceylon froze. "Impossible. Time travel, temporal communication, it's forbidden science. No civilization has achieved that." Aaron looked at him. "You forget who we were, Curator. Humanity didn't stop where others gave up." Before Ceylon could respond, a low hum filled the air again. One of the tablets lit up, bright enough to cast long shadows across the walls. The patterns on its surface began to rearrange, forming a spiral of light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Dr. Mira gasped. "It's starting again!" The spiral expanded into the air, turning into a hologram. A storm of glowing symbols, slowly forming a shape. At first it looked like static noise, but then it changed into the image of a human face. It was old, scarred, and tired. The man's eyes were dim, his voice weak but steady. "To whoever finds this," failed. The museum went completely silent. Even the air felt heavier. "We thought we could escape the pattern," the hologram continued. "But every age ends the same way. We grow, we reach for the stars, and then something finds us." Dr. Mira's heart raced. "Something finds us?" she whispered. The image flickered, showing flashes, fleets burning, colonies destroyed, whole planets turning to ash. "It does not come for power. It comes for silence. It devours civilizations that speak too loudly into the dark." Ethan frowned. What is it?" the hologram continued, its voice shaking slightly. "We left these messages hidden across the galaxy. We hoped one day humanity, or someone like us would see the signs early enough. But if you're watching this, it's already too late. The image froze for a moment, then glitched violently. The man's face distorted, and strange symbols appeared in the air. Lines, coordinates, fragments of warnings. Dr. Mira rushed to record them. "Captain, these look like star maps." Selan stepped closer, fear in his eyes. "Those sectors, most are gone. Dead zones. Nothing survives there." Aaron's gaze darkened. "Maybe that's why they're dead." The hologram flickered again, the old man's face returning one last time. "We called it the silence beyond. It listens, waits, and when we speak, it follows. Do not call out. Do not answer. Remember our mistake." The image shattered into a burst of light and vanished. The room was left in darkness again. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Selan broke the silence. "Your species recorded a message from the future. Warning about some kind of cosmic predator?" Dr. Mira shook her head slowly. "Not just a predator. Something that hunts civilizations." Ethan exhaled. "That explains the 10,000 artifacts. Each one might hold a piece of the message, a map of where it's been or where it's going." Aaron turned toward the glass, staring at the dark tablets. "If what he said is true, it means this thing, this silence, moves from system to system, wiping out anyone who makes noise in the stars." Selan's voice trembled. "Then why activate them? Why not leave them sleeping?" Aaron's reply was soft, but it carried weight. "Because it's already listening." A sudden alarm echoed through the museum. The walls flashed red, and Selan's comm device buzzed loudly. He opened it, his face tightening. Power fluctuations spreading across multiple wings. Energy spikes detected near the vault's main reactor. Ethan drew his pulse weapon. "Could be a containment breach." Aaron shook his head. "No, it's the tablets. They're transmitting something." Mira stared at the data on her wrist screen. "They're sending signals into deep space, encoded messages on every frequency." Selan's voice rose in panic. "Stop them. Shut them down before—" But before he could finish, the floor trembled. The ceiling lights dimmed, and a deep, distant rumble echoed through the vast museum. Dr. Mira looked at the glass chamber. The tablets were glowing again, all 10,000 at once, pulsing like synchronized hearts. The light grew so bright it painted the entire hall silver. Then came the voice. It was not human, not alien. It was deep, layered, and ancient, echoing through the air like thunder rolling through time. "The signal has been found." Every being in the room froze. Selan stammered. What was that?" Ethan gripped his weapon tighter. "That wasn't the message. That was a reply." Aaron's face turned pale. "It hurt us. The lights went out completely. Only the glowing tablets remained, humming softly, as if whispering to each other in an unknown language." Dr. Mira's voice trembled. "Captain, what do we do now?" Aaron looked at her, then at the tablets that now felt like living eyes watching them from the dark. He whispered, "Now, we find out how to stop something that already ended us once." The emergency lights flickered back on. The air felt colder, heavier. Outside the museum, space itself seemed darker than before, as if something vast and unseen had turned its gaze toward them. And somewhere, far beyond the edge of known space, something old began to move. The Galactic Museum had gone completely silent. Only the faint hum of emergency lights filled the air. The massive halls, once bright and full of alien wonders, now felt like a tomb. Captain Aaron Holt stood in the center of the control deck, staring at the holographic projection that floated before him. Thousands of small dots representing the museum's systems. One by one, the dots were going dark. "Report," he said quietly. Ethan Ward, his security officer, tapped his wrist console. "Multiple power failures. Life support is running on backups. All communications are offline. It's like something is draining the system from inside." Dr. Mira Solis was bent over her scanner, her face pale under the dim red lights. "It's not a normal energy drain," she said. "The readings are organic, like the energy has a pulse." Curator Selanvar turned sharply, his wings flicking in panic. "Organic? That's impossible. The museum is made of pure technology. No living system can—" He stopped mid-sentence. The lights flickered again, once, twice, and then a faint whisper filled the air. It wasn't words, not exactly. It was like 1,000 voices speaking just below hearing range, too soft to understand but too clear to ignore. Mira looked up slowly. "Do you hear that?" Ethan nodded, hand on his weapon. "It's everywhere." The whisper grew louder, shifting in tone, like static from a dying radio. And then, among the chaos of sounds, one word formed, not from speakers but from the very air itself. "Awake!" Salen stumbled backward, his voice trembling. "Who said that?" Aaron didn't move. His eyes stayed fixed on the dark tablets through the observation window. "It's not someone," he said quietly. "It's them." The artifacts inside the vault were glowing again. Not silver now, but deep crimson. The markings changed shape, forming new symbols that none of the translation drones could recognize. The glow wasn't steady. It was breathing. Dr. Mira whispered. "They're alive." Salon shouted, "Alive? Artifacts cannot be alive." Aaron turned to him. "They're not alive like you or me. They're awake." The message triggered something that was never supposed to be released. Ethan's scanner beeped rapidly. "Captain, energy signatures are spreading across the museum's main power grid. If this continues, the whole facility could—" Before he could finish, a loud crack echoed through the hall. The glass walls separating them from the vault split from top to bottom. A wave of freezing air burst out, making everyone step back. The glowing symbols on the tablets began to rise, lifting off their surfaces like dust in zero gravity. The particles moved together, forming shapes in the air, first like smoke, then like figures, Mira gasped. "They look human." Thousands of faint, ghostly human forms hovered above the tablets, faces blurred but expressions clear. Sorrow, fear, pain. Each one mouthed words no one could hear. Ceylon was shaking now. "Are those souls?" Aaron didn't answer. He walked closer, staring at the faces in the mist. Their memories. Records of the last ones who saw the end. Mira looked horrified. They recorded their minds into the tablets. The whispers grew louder again. Then suddenly all the ghostly figures turned their heads, at once, toward the humans watching. Ethan stepped back. "They're looking at us." One of the ghostly faces moved closer to the glass. Its lips parted, and this time a clear voice came through. "You shouldn't have woken us." The lights exploded in white. The energy surged threw everyone off their feet. Sparks rained from the ceiling as alarms screamed through the control deck. When the light faded, the vault was empty again. No more ghosts, no glow. Only the cracked glass and cold air remained. Mira's breathing was fast. "Captain, we have to leave. Whatever this is, it's not just a recording." Aaron slowly got to his feet. "No, we can't leave. We need to understand what we just unleashed," Salen shouted. "Understand? You have doomed us. The museum is no longer safe. The artifacts are infected." Before Aaron could reply, Ethan's scanner started beeping again. "Captain, I'm detecting signals outside the museum. Multiple contacts, hundreds, maybe thousands." Ceylon turned toward the main viewport. The stars outside flickered like candle flames. Something was moving in the darkness. Faint shapes drifting closer, almost invisible. Mira whispered, "Are those ships?" Ethan zoomed in the display. His face turned pale. "No, they're not ships. They're fragments. Pieces of metal, debris, moving like they're alive." As they watched, one of the dark shapes touched the museum's outer shield. The energy field rippled like water. Then the sensors went dead. Aaron spoke softly. "It found us." Ceylon's voice broke. "What found us?" Aaron looked at him, his face cold. The silence followed the signal. For a long moment, no one spoke. The museum groaned under the pressure of something unseen pushing against it from outside. Mira whispered, "Captain, if that thing destroys the museum, the artifacts will scatter. The message will spread to every system connected to the network." Aaron turned toward her. "Then we can't let it reach the network. We need to shut it down manually." Ceylon shook his head. "That would require entering the vault directly. You'd never survive the radiation." Aaron adjusted his uniform and started walking toward the vault door. "I'll survive long enough." Mira ran after him. "Aaron, you can't go alone." He looked back at her. His voice was calm, but his eyes held something deeper, determination mixed with fear. Someone has to understand what they tried to say before it's too late. "This isn't just about the museum. It's about the entire galaxy. The heavy vault doors hissed open. Cold air poured out, fogging the corridor. Aaron stepped inside slowly, the glow of the tablets returning as he moved closer. They seemed to react to his presence again, flickering between light and shadow as if recognizing him. He whispered to himself, "Tell me what happened." A beam of light formed around him. The markings on the floor began to spin. His voice echoed in the empty chamber as the door closed behind him. Outside, Mira stared through the glass as the lights grew brighter around him. Ethan whispered, "What's he doing?" Mira's eyes filled with fear. "He's trying to talk to them." Ceylon turned toward the viewport again. The darkness outside the museum was moving, twisting and stretching like a wave of ink, and deep within that shadow something opened its eyes. Inside the vault, everything was quiet except for the low hum of power returning to the stones. Captain Aaron Holt stood in the center of the chamber, surrounded by thousands of floating black tablets. Each one pulsed with a dim red glow, like the beat of 1,000 sleeping hearts. The air was cold and heavy. His breath fogged in front of him. The faint symbols on the floor began to light up one by one, forming a circular pattern beneath his feet. Aaron looked around carefully. "I know you can hear me," he said softly. "You left these for a reason. Tell me what happened." At first, nothing. Then the air shimmered, and from the space between the tablets, light began to form. One by one, the glowing shapes took form again. The same human-like shadows from before. Their outlines clearer now, their faces still pale and broken. Their voices echoed together, overlapping like a chorus of ghosts. "You should not have come." Aaron stood firm. "I had no choice. You sent the message. You called us here." The figures moved closer, circling him. Their expressions were filled with pain and memory. One stepped forward, the same scarred man from the earlier hologram. His eyes glowed faintly blue. "You are too early," the man said. "Or too late." "We never learned which," Aaron frowned. "Who are you?" "We are what remains of humanity. The last minds of the last fleet. We recorded ourselves here before the silence reached Earth." Aaron's eyes widened. "Earth survived that long?" The ghostly man nodded slowly. "For a time. We built worlds beyond the edge. We thought distance meant safety. We were wrong." The light around them flickered again, and suddenly Aaron saw flashes. Holographic memories burning across the walls of the vault. A planet engulfed in fire. Cities collapsing under skies filled with black smoke. Warships fleeing into the void, and then a vast shadow moving between stars, erasing everything it touched. Dr. Mira's voice echoed faintly through Aaron's comlink from outside the chamber. "Captain, we're seeing massive data spikes from your location. The tablets are fully awake. They're transmitting images across the museum network." But Aaron ignored her voice. He was lost in the vision before him. "We tried to hide," the ghostly man continued. "We silenced our machines. We burned our signals. But the silence doesn't hunt by sound or light. It hunts by memory." Aaron frowned. "Memory?" "Every time a civilization remembers its own greatness, it draws closer. Pride is the call it answers." The vision changed again, showing alien worlds collapsing, their histories erased, their monuments turned to dust. "They called it the silence," the man said, "because it doesn't destroy out of anger. It cleans, it erases. It returns the stars to stillness." Aaron's heart pounded. "And humanity fought it?" "We tried. We built weapons that could bend gravity, tear holes in space, even trap it in dark energy cages. But the silence was not a creature. It was a pattern, a rule of the universe that punishes those who climb too high." For a moment, the ghost's eyes dimmed. "We thought we were gods. We were only echoes." The chamber's lights flickered again. Outside, alarms started blaring. Dr. Mira shouted through the comlink, "Captain, the external sensors just picked up movement. Whatever's out there is surrounding the museum." Aaron's pulse quickened. "You said you recorded yourselves to warn us. Why? What are we supposed to do?" The man's face seemed to fade slightly, his voice quieter now. "We hoped that one day humanity would rise again. Humble, forgotten, unseen. We hoped they would learn the lesson we never did." Aaron took a deep breath. "What lesson?" "That survival is not strength. It is silence." The lights flared suddenly. The ghost raised his hand, pointing toward the center of the vault. "There is one last command, hidden beneath the tablets. can stop the pattern for a time, but it requires a price. Aaron stepped forward. Show me. The floor beneath him cracked open, revealing a small platform rising from below. On it rested a crystal sphere glowing faintly blue. Its surface shimmered with swirling symbols that looked like stars in motion. Mira's voice came again, panicked. Captain, I'm detecting a massive power surge right below you. What's happening? Aaron stared at the sphere. It's a control core. A failsafe. The ghost's voice was almost a whisper now. To use it, one must give it what the silence cannot erase. A living memory. A mind, Aaron froze. You mean a human mind? Yes. The sphere will absorb you. It will turn your consciousness into signal, and your thoughts will scatter across time. The silence will lose your location, but for a while. Aaron looked down at the glowing orb. His reflection shimmered on its surface. Small, human, fragile. It is the only way, the ghost said. If you do nothing, the museum will fall, and with it, the last warning will vanish. Outside the vault, the entire structure began to tremble. Ethan's voice echoed through the calm. Captain, the debris outside is hitting the outer shields. We can't hold much longer. Aaron closed his eyes. I understand, Mira shouted. Aaron, whatever you're thinking, don't do it. We can find another way. But Aaron placed his hand on the sphere. Instantly, light exploded around him. The orb pulsed once, twice, and then the vault was filled with white fire. Mira screamed into the calm. Aaron? Respond! There was no reply. When the light faded, the vault was quiet again. The sphere floated in the center, glowing softly. All the tablets had gone dark, their power drained, their messages silent once more. The ghostly figure looked around the now empty chamber. His expression was peaceful for the first time. He chose as we did, the ghost murmured. The pattern repeats, but so does hope. Then he too faded into the air, leaving only silence behind. Outside, Mira and Ethan forced the vault doors open. Smoke poured out, and the air was thick with static energy. Captain, Mira shouted, running inside, but there was no sign of Aaron, only the faintly glowing sphere resting on the platform. Ethan stepped closer. Is that what's left of him? Mira knelt beside it, her eyes filled with tears. Maybe, or maybe. He's still out there. Somewhere. The sphere pulsed once and faintly, so faint it could barely be heard, came a whisper. Remember. Silence, the glow dimmed. The vault went still. Outside the museum, the shadow around the structure began to retreat, slowly fading back into the darkness of space, as if it had lost interest. For now, Dr. Mira Voss sat beside the glowing sphere. It had been hours since Captain Aaron vanished inside the light. The vault was cold now, the air filled with dust and silence. The only sound was the slow pulse of the orb, one soft beat every few seconds, like a sleeping heart. Ethan stood at the edge of the chamber, scanning the dead tablets that once held voices of the past. Nothing's responding, he said, frustration in his tone. All those records gone. Like they never existed, Mira didn't answer. Her eyes stayed on the orb. No, she said quietly. Not gone, changed, Ethan frowned. Changed? She leaned closer. Aaron. He offered his mind to the system. Maybe his consciousness is still here. Inside this. The orb pulsed brighter. As if reacting to her words, Ethan took a cautious step back. That thing... It absorbed him. How can you be sure it's safe? Mira looked up at him, tired but determined. He did it to protect us. If we run now, we waste his choice, Ethan sighed. And what do you suggest we do? Have a chat with a glowing rock? Before Mira could answer, the lights flickered. A faint hum spread through the room, vibrating in the air. Then from the center of the sphere, a soft voice echoed. Broken, distorted, but human. Mira? Her eyes widened. She stood quickly. Aaron. The voice came again, faint and static-filled. Mira, can you hear me? Time feels wrong here. Ethan's eyes went wide. It's him. It's really him. Mira stepped closer, her hands shaking. Aaron, it's me. We're here. What happened to you? The sphere glowed faintly blue, and the air filled with tiny motes of light. They swirled around, forming a hazy shape. Aaron's outline, faint and transparent. I'm not sure, the echo said. It feels like I'm everywhere at once. The sphere. It connects across memory and time. I can see things. Past, future, all mixed, Mira whispered. You're inside the archive network. More than that, Aaron replied. I can see the pattern of the silence. It's not a creature. It's spreading again. And it knows you're here. Ethan cursed under his breath. Of course it does. Nothing's ever easy. Mira's voice was urgent now. Can you stop it? Not yet. The core's power is limited, but there's something deeper beneath this planet. An old relay built by the first colonists. If you can reach it, I can send the warning through time itself. Mira blinked. Through time? Yes. The sphere is linked to ancient human memory systems. It can push a signal backward, to when humanity was still alive out there. Ethan looked doubtful. You're saying we can warn the past? Aaron's outline flickered again. If we succeed, maybe the next version of us won't make the same mistake. The chamber trembled suddenly. Dust rained down from the ceiling. Ethan checked his scanner. Something's moving outside, big. Multiple contacts. Mira glanced toward the door. We need to move now. Aaron, can you guide us to that relay? Yes, I can see the path, but you'll have to trust me. Ethan smirked bitterly. Trust the ghost in the crystal. Great. Mira grabbed her bag and looked at him. He saved your life once already. Trust him again. They hurried out of the vault, the sphere floating gently behind them, as if it understood where to go. The hallways of the museum were dark now. Only the faint emergency lights glowed along the walls. Outside, the storm of black dust had returned, swirling like a living fog. Aaron, Mira said. Which way? North corridor. His voice echoed softly. There's a service tunnel beneath the lower decks. It connects to the old mining shafts. The relay is buried there. Ethan forced open the door. Move! They ran through the long passage, boots echoing against metal floors. The fog followed them, seeping through cracks in the walls, whispering like 1,000 distant voices. Faster, Aaron urged. It's adapting. It knows what I am now, a living signal. Mira glanced at the floating orb behind them. Can it destroy you? Maybe, but not yet. They reached the tunnel entrance, a massive steel hatch half buried in dust. Ethan pried open the control panel and started bypassing the old circuits. Give me a few seconds, he muttered. The whispers grew louder. The air temperature dropped suddenly. From the dark fog, shapes began to form, tall, shifting silhouettes with hollow faces. Mira froze. What are those? Echoes, Aaron said grimly. Memories devoured by the silence. They're not alive, just hungry. Ethan shouted, Got it, and slammed the hatch open. They jumped inside just as the shadows lunged. The door sealed behind them, shaking from the impact. They fell into darkness. The tunnel smelled of dust and old metal. Only the faint blue glow of the sphere lit their way. Mira took a deep breath. Aaron, we're inside. Good. Follow the tunnel until you find a chamber with a black column. That's the relay. As they moved, the walls began to hum. Strange patterns lit up, ancient human symbols mixed with alien script. Ethan looked uneasy. You sure this place was built by humans? It was, Aaron replied, but not ordinary ones. This was where the last scientists tried to change time. They failed, but their work still sleeps. Finally, they reached a huge circular room. In the center stood a dark pillar of metal and glass, covered in vines of glowing wires. Mira approached it slowly. This must be it. The sphere floated closer and began to merge with the pillar. Blue light spread across the floor like veins of energy. It's working, Aaron said, his voice echoing everywhere. I can see the timelines connecting. I can reach across them. Ethan's scanner beeped rapidly. Movement again. It followed us down here. From the tunnel, the black fog poured in, twisting and forming a single massive shadow with glowing red cracks. Mira's heart raced. Aaron, hurry! Almost there, the shadow roared, a sound that shook the air. It lunged toward the pillar. Ethan fired his plasma cutter, the beam slicing through the fog, but it only slowed it down. The thing kept coming. Mira grabbed a data core from her belt. If we don't make it, Aaron, take this. It's everything we've learned. No, Aaron's voice boomed, stronger now. You will make it. The light from the pillar flared, blindingly bright. The fog screamed and tore apart like smoke in a storm, then silence. When Mira opened her eyes, the pillar was quiet again, the sphere gone. Only a faint mark on the floor remained, a pattern shaped like a human hand. Ethan stood slowly. He's gone. Again. Mira looked up at the ceiling, where faint stars glimmered through cracks in the rock. No, she whispered. He's not gone. He's out there, across time. Far above the planet, in the cold void of space, a pulse of blue light flashed outward, silent, invisible, traveling faster than any ship. A message, a warning. To whoever comes after, remember us, and remember the silence. The blue pulse moved through the stars, faster than light, faster than thought. It wasn't just a signal. It was a memory wrapped inside energy, a human voice traveling backward through time. Somewhere across centuries, across wars and rebirths, it found a place to land. Earth, year 2374. In a small observatory near the frozen ruins of the Himalayas, Dr. Elena Rourke watched her computer screens flicker. The sky outside was dark and silent, filled with storm clouds and static. For months, she had been tracking strange bursts of radiation, patterns that didn't match any known source. But this night, the pattern became a voice. Signal received, her console said, the AI voice trembling. She frowned. That's not possible. There's no active relay in this sector. Then a soft human whisper came through the speakers. To whoever comes after, remember us, and remember the silence. Elena froze. The message repeated. The same voice, calm but distant, full of sorrow and warning. The end began in the dark. Don't trust the quiet. Her hands shook. Who is this? Identify yourself, she said into the mic. No answer, only static. Her assistant, a young technician named Aishan, ran into the room. Doctor, the entire network just lit up. That transmission is bouncing across every satellite we have. Elena stared at the main monitor. The signal wasn't just a voice anymore. It carried data fragments. Symbols, images, maps of stars that didn't exist yet. Where did this come from, she whispered. Ishan checked his console. It's not local. The origin point is outside the solar system, but the timestamp says it's from over 20,000 years in the future. Elena felt her heart race. That's impossible. He nodded slowly. It should be. Meanwhile, deep in the future vault far away, beyond time itself, Mira Voss sat in the darkness of the relay chamber. Ethan was unconscious beside her. His arm burned from the energy blast. The pillar was silent now. She touched the cold metal. Aaron, did it work? No answer came, only a faint warmth in the air, a heartbeat that wasn't hers. It worked. The voice was faint, but she heard it clearly inside her mind. Aaron, she whispered. They heard us, I can feel it. The message crossed the void. Mira closed her eyes, tears falling. Then humanity still has a chance. Maybe. But something else came through with it. Her eyes snapped open. What do you mean? The silence is clever. Learn to follow signals. When we sent the warning, it followed the path back. Mira's blood went cold. You mean it's heading toward the past? Yes, toward Earth. It will begin earlier than before. Earth, same night, Doctor. Elena replayed the signal again and again. Each time more fragments decoded themselves. The human voice, male, became clearer. We thought we could stop it, we were wrong. The silence feeds on memory, on sound, on thought. Once you hear it, it knows you. The room lights flickered. Ishan frowned. Did you see that? Elena didn't answer. Her screen glitched, showing flashes of strange symbols, circular, repeating, like the carvings found on the old Martian colonies. Then came another voice. This one wasn't human. It was soft, cold, whispering through the speakers. You remembered us. Ishan took a step back. What the hell is that? Elena slammed the console off, but the whisper kept going, echoing from the unplugged speakers. We were waiting, inside the silence. She felt her skin crawl. The temperature in the room dropped instantly. "Elena," Ishan said, panic rising. "Something's wrong with the systems. Every relay's activating on its own." The message was spreading through every radio, every communication link on Earth. People across cities woke to strange voices on their devices. Ships in orbit received ghost signals. Even the AI cores began to hum with unknown data. And everywhere, one sentence repeated, "Remember the silence." Back in the vault, Mira grabbed her gear and shook Ethan awake. "We have to find another relay, one that can send a counter-signal." Ethan groaned, opening his eyes. "Counter-signal? You mean fight the thing with another message?" She nodded. "It followed the connection, but maybe we can rewrite the path, send something pure enough to erase its pattern." "You'll need energy, Mira," Aaron's voice echoed faintly, "and time is already shifting. What happens now changes everything before." She stood, determination in her eyes. "Then let's make it count. Earth." The next morning, Dr. Elena Rourke sat outside the observatory, staring at the sunrise. The world looked peaceful, but she knew it wasn't. Behind her, the facility lights flickered again. The whisper returned, faint but growing. "It's awake again, just like before." She didn't know what before meant. Not yet. But far above Earth, satellites began to move on their own, forming a strange geometric pattern across the sky. A pulse of dark energy shimmered between them, silent, invisible to the naked eye. And somewhere deep in the stars, in the ruins of the Galactic Museum, Mira felt the same vibration echo back. The silence was no longer a future threat. It was already here, spreading through time itself. Mira looked up at the glowing walls and whispered to Aaron's fading presence, "If the past is where it begins, then the past is where we'll fight." And the sphere inside the relay pulsed once more, like the heartbeat of something ancient, defiant, and very, very human. The world had changed overnight. No one knew why the satellites had shifted position. No one could explain the whispers that moved through every radio and data stream. But one thing was clear. The silence had arrived. In every city, machines began to hum with a strange, low sound. People dreamed of dark skies, of shadows that whispered names. Scientists called it a data plague. The military called it the ghost wave. Only Dr. Elena Rourke understood what it really was. A warning turned into a doorway, a mistake that connected two ends of time. The observatory, Earth, year 2374. Elena stood in the main control room, watching as the satellites formed an enormous ring pattern around Earth. Each pulse of dark energy matched the rhythm of a heartbeat, slow, deep, endless. Ishan was working fast, his fingers flying across the console. "Doctor, it's rewriting every system we have. Power grids, weather control, defense AI. Everything's syncing with that signal." Elena's eyes narrowed. "Then we use the same signal to fight it." He stared at her. "You want to talk to it?" She took a deep breath. "No, I want to send another message, the same way they did. Far future, the Galactic Museum." Vault in the ruins of the museum, Mira Voss and Ethan Cole stood before the old relay core. The walls glowed faintly with blue light, the last spark of Aaron Holt's consciousness still inside. "Earth received the message," Mira said softly. "But the silence followed. We brought it to them." Ethan clenched his fists. "Then we fix it. Tell me what to do." "There's one chance left," Aaron's voice whispered from the light. "If we merge both timelines, I can burn out the silence across all of time. But it will need energy. Life energy." Mira understood instantly. "You mean—" "Yes, a human mind. Just like before." Ethan shook his head. "No, not again. We already lost you once." Aaron's voice was faint now, like wind fading through glass. "Someone has to finish it, Mira. Someone has to make the final transmission. Earth." The final hour. Elena adjusted her headset, connecting the observatory directly to the satellite ring. "Ishan, begin the transmission sequence." He hesitated. "What do we send?" She looked up at the ceiling, her voice calm but strong. We send a voice, human and real. The silence can't feed on truth. It only feeds on fear. He nodded and activated the core. Static filled the room. The energy readings spiked off the charts. Then Elena spoke. This is Dr. Elena Rourke, Human Research Division. We know what you are. We know where you came from. But we are still here. We will always be here. Ducty sound rippled through the planet systems, into the satellites, into the void. But as soon as her words left the speakers, another voice answered, colder, deeper, like the sound of an endless cave. You cannot stop what has already begun. You sent us to yourselves. Elena's screens turned black. The whispers filled the room. Ishan shouted, It's overriding the signal. She closed her eyes. No, not yet. And then through the static, another voice appeared. A man's voice, calm, steady, familiar. Elena, listen carefully. She froze. Who is this? Captain Aaron Holt. From your future. Her heart stopped for a moment. You're the one who sent the warning. Yes, and now you have to finish it. I'm sending coordinates. Link your satellites to these frequencies. When they align, you'll open a bridge between our times. Elena looked at Ishan. Do it. He began the synchronization. This could rip space-time apart, he muttered. Elena's eyes were bright with determination. Then let's make the rip worth it. Across time, the connection in the Galactic Museum, the entire vault began to shake. The relay glowed white-hot, and Mira felt her skin burn with energy. They're opening the link, Aaron said. Both times are merging. Ethan grabbed her arm. Mira, the system can't take this. It'll kill us. She looked at him, her face calm. Then let it. We end it here. She stepped into the light. Her voice echoed across the chamber. To every human, past or future, remember this. We are more than what destroyed us. The energy burst outward, crossing the bridge between eras. In that instant, Mira, Aaron, and Elena all heard each other, their voices overlapping, merging into one. Humanity endures. The silence ends. This is our final transmission. The collapse. The entire satellite network around Earth exploded in a wave of blue light. Every machine went silent. Every signal stopped. The world fell into quiet. But this time, the quiet was peaceful. At the same moment, far in the future, the Galactic Museum crumbled into dust. The last of the silence screamed once, and vanished forever into the void. Aftermath. Months later on Earth, the systems rebooted. People awoke from strange dreams they couldn't explain. Dr. Elena stood outside the observatory, watching the stars. Ishan approached her quietly. It's gone, isn't it? She nodded. Yes, whatever it was, it's over, but... He frowned. But what? She looked up at the sky where one faint blue star still pulsed every few seconds, a heartbeat in space. Someone out there sent that signal, she whispered. And someone paid the price. He followed her gaze, silent for a moment. You think they were real? She smiled faintly. I don't think. I know. Above them, the blue star pulsed one last time, and in its light for a brief second, a human silhouette appeared. Captain Aaron Holt, saluting. Then he faded into the stars. To whoever comes after, his last words whispered through the static, remember us, not for our fear, but for our fire.